Well, hello and welcome to your Thomas Paine's Common Sense Notes. So this is on, if you're in Mrs. Pool's class, you are on page 12 in your notebook. So on the top of that page in the white space, I'd like you to write what you see in blue here, Thomas Paine's Common Sense Notes. And then as we go through, if I highlight it, I want you to write it on your paper. And you can just write them as bullet points, just one below the other, write the statement that I highlight, go to the next line, write the next statement. And with each new statement, you just want to put either a dot or like a minus sign to show that that is that's how you take bulleted notes, to show that each line is a new little note. And that's all we're going to do. I just want you to have this information so that you can study it for the test that you're going to have with your new teacher on Monday. So as I read, I'm going to highlight, and then you will write down the highlighted things. Okay, so here's a picture of old Thomas, and I love the title of the pamphlet. This was like almost like a brochure, like a little booklet that was passed around the colonies to try to persuade people. So you're going to see what they were trying to be persuaded to do. Americans could not break their ties with Britain easily. Despite all the recent hardships, the majority of colonists since birth were reared to believe that England was to be loved and its monarch revered. So we actually want to write that bullet down. So pause me so that you can copy that down, and I'm just going to keep going so that you can bring me back on when you're ready. Fear was another factor. Any student of history was familiar with the harsh manner the British employed on Irish rebels. A revolution could bring mob rule, and no one, not even the potential mob, wanted that. Furthermore, despite taxes, times were good. Arguments can be made that the average American was more prosperous than the average Briton. Yet there were terrible injustices the colonists could not forget. Americans were divided against themselves. Arguments for independence were growing. Thomas Paine would provide the extra push. Common Sense was an instant bestseller. Published in January 1776 in Philadelphia, we definitely want that. Nearly 120,000 copies were in circulation by April. Paine's brilliant arguments were straightforward. He argued for two main points, and we definitely want those two main points. One, independence from England, and two, the creation of a democratic republic. Remember, they were coming from a monarchy. Paine avoided flowery prose. He wrote in the language of the people, often quoting the Bible in his arguments. So this part is important because everything else, even the Declaration of Independence and these major important documents, they're written in such a way that most of us now can't understand what it really means without some serious study and kind of some decoding of the words, because it's not how we speak anymore, and it was written in a very formal way. So he knew if he was going to get to the average American, the farmer, the shoemaker, he had to make it in a language that everybody gets. Most people in America had a working knowledge of the Bible, so his arguments rang true. Paine was not religious, but he knew his readers were, so he totally knew his audience, right? That's what language arts teachers are always telling you when you're writing a piece of, especially a persuasive essay, know your audience. King George was the Pharaoh of England and the royal brute of Great Britain. He touched a nerve in the American countryside. So he was using like these phrases. If it's in quotes, we know those are his exact words. So he's referring to the king in the way that the pharaohs ruled Egypt, which was absolute monarchy, death penalty for anybody who disagreed, very harsh rule. A real pain for the British. Haha, get the joke, pain. Besides attacks on George III, he called for the establishment of a republic. Even patriot leaders like Thomas Jefferson and John Adams condemned Paine as an extremist on the issue of post-independence government. Still, common sense grew the patriot cause. It made no difference to the readers that Paine was a new arrival to America. Published anonymously, many readers attributed it to John Adams, who denied involvement. In the end, his prose was common sense. Why should tiny England rule the vastness of a continent? How do colonists expect to gain foreign support while still professing loyalty to the British king? How much longer can Americans stand for the repeated abuses of the crown? All these questions led many readers to one answer as the summer of 1776 grew near. Of course, and that answer is that they would needed to have a revolution. So I think that if you have those major points, you're going to be well on the way to having all the information that you need for your test. Make sure that you have all the notes for this week along with these, and then tomorrow you have a study day. So go back and look over everything, make sure you have everything ready to go, and you're ready for next week. All right, have a great day.